Hello everyone. In this video, we shall discuss everything about lines. So what is a line? An equation of the form ax plus by plus c equals 0 is a straight line where a, b, and c are real numbers and a and b are not both 0. Because if a and b are both 0, then the equation of a line will be reduced to a constant value. So for our example, 2x minus 5y minus 10 equals 0 is a straight line where a is equal to positive 2, b is equal to negative 5, and c is equal to negative 10. Now, since a and b are not both 0, then the line must be a diagonal line. Second, 3y minus 6 equals 0 is also a straight line where a is equal to 0, b is equal to positive 3, and c is equal to negative 6. Now here, since a is 0 and b is not equal to 0, then the line is a horizontal line. For our third example, 2x plus 14 equals 0 is also a straight line where a is equal to positive 2, b is equal to 0, and c is equal to positive 14. Now, since a is not 0 and b is equal to 0, then the line is a vertical line. Now, the equation that we have here, ax plus by plus c equals 0, is called the general form of the equation of a line. Now, let's move to the intercepts of a line. What are the intercepts? If a line passes through the y-axis and the x-axis, the points of intersection are called the intercepts. So if the line hits the y-axis, the point of intersection with the y-axis is the y-intercept, and its coordinates is 0, b. So in this case, the y-intercept is equal to b. Now, if the line hits the x-axis, then the point of intersection would be the x-intercept, and its coordinates is a, 0, in which the x-intercept is equal to a. So to solve for the intercepts of a line given its equation, we substitute 0 to y, and then we solve for x to get the x-intercept. And then we substitute 0 to x and then solve for y when we're solving for the y-intercept. So for example, let us solve for the intercepts of the line 3x plus 2y equals 9. So for the x-intercept, we set y equals 0 and then we solve for x. So in this case, we have 3 times x plus 2 times 0 is equal to 9. And 2 times 0 is 0, so we just get 3x equals 9. And then dividing both sides by 3, we have x is equal to 3. So the x-intercept is 3, and it corresponds to the ordered pair 3, 0. Now for the y-intercept, we set x to be 0, and then we solve for y. So in this case, we have 3 times 0 plus 2 times y equals 9. And since 3 times 0 is 0, we just get 2y is equal to 9. And then dividing both sides by 2, we obtain y equals 9 over 2. So the y-intercept is equal to 9 over 2, and it corresponds to the ordered pair 0, 9 over 2. Now let's move to the slope of a line. So suppose that we have the points P and Q with coordinates x sub 1, y sub 1, and x sub 2, y sub 2, respectively. The slope of the line passing through the points P and Q, denoted by M, is given by the formula y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So we can treat this slope formula as the change in y divided by the change in x. Now let us find the slope of the line passing through the following pairs of points. First, we have negative 1, 4, and 3, 7. So in here, we can set negative 1 as x sub 1 and positive 4 as y sub 1. And then we have x sub 2 equals 3 and y sub 2 equals 7. So to solve for the slope, we just substitute these coordinates into the formula, and we get 7 minus 4, which is y sub 2 minus y sub 1, divided by x sub 2, which is 3, minus x sub 1, which is negative 1. So simplifying this, we get 7 minus 4 is 3, and then 3 minus negative 1 is positive 4. So in this case, the slope is 3/4, which is positive. And this means that for every 4-unit movement horizontally, then there would correspond a 3-unit movement vertically. So since this slope is positive, the line is sloping upward or it leans to the right side. Now for our second example, we have 0, 5 and 2, -7. So we set x sub 1 and y sub 1 to be 0 and 5, x sub 2 and y sub 2 to be 2 and -7 respectively. So to solve for the slope, again, we use the formula. So we get -7 minus 5 over 2 minus 0. And this gives us -7 minus 5, which is -12. And 2 minus 0 is 2. So -12 over 2 is equal to -6. So for this slope, this means that for every 1 unit movement horizontally, there will be a 6-unit movement vertically. But since we have a negative sign in the numerator, this means that if we move 1 unit to the right, there should be a 6-unit movement downwards. Now, since this slope is negative, then the line is sloping downward or it leans to the left. Now, for our third example, to compute the slope, we have y sub 2 minus y sub 1, which is 1 minus 1, over x sub 2 minus x sub 1, which is 4 minus -3. So this gives us 1 minus 1 is 0 over 4 minus -3 is +7. So 0 over 7 is 0. So if the slope of the line is 0, it means that it is a horizontal line. Now for the last one, for the slope, 2, -3 and 2, 0. So the slope will be computed as 0 minus -3 divided by 2 minus 2. And this gives us +3 in the numerator and 0 in the denominator, which is undefined. So if the slope is undefined, then the slope is or the line is a vertical line. Now, the equation of a line can also be written in another form. And now we have the slope-intercept form. A line with slope m and y-intercept b has an equation that can be written in the form y equals m times x plus b. So this is called the slope-intercept form of the line. So for example, y equals 3x plus 1 is a line having a slope 3 and y-intercept 1. So which means that the point 0, 1 lies on the line. Now for our second example, y equals -2/3 times x plus 4. Then here, the slope is -2/3 and the y-intercept is +4. So which means that the point 0, 4 lies on the line. Now to graph a line, we have 3 possible options. So first, we can actually use the intercepts. Second, we can use table of values. And third, we can use the slope-intercept form. Now, in order to graph a line, we only need a minimum of 2 points. So let's have an example. Let's graph the line 7x plus 2y equals 7. And let us use the intercepts in order to graph this line. So first, let us solve for the x-intercept by setting y to be 0, and we solve for x. So here, we have 7x plus 2 times 0 equals 7. 2 times 0 is 0, so we get 7x is equal to 7. And then we divide both sides by 7, and we obtain x is equal to 1. So which means that the point 1, 0 lies on the line. So plotting this 1, 0, it is located at this position. Now for the y-intercept, we set x to be 0 and then we solve for y. So here we have 7 times 0 plus 2 times y equals 7. Since 7 times 0 is 0, we get 2y equals 7. And then we divide both sides by 2. So we get y equals 7 over 2 or 3.5. So this means that the point 0, 7 over 2 lies on the straight line. So plotting this point on the Cartesian plane, we have 0, 3.5, which is located here. So now, since we already have 2 points of the line, we can just connect these 2 points by a straight line. And that's the graph of 7x plus 2y equals 7. Now let us graph the same line using a different process. So using the table of values, so we can use any x value. So in here, we use x equals -1 and x is equal to +2. We substitute these values into the equation and then we solve for the y. So for x equals -1, we have 7 times -1 plus 2 times y is equal to 7. Now 7 times -1 is -7, and then we have plus 2y equals 7. Transposing -7 to the right side, we get 2 times y is equal to +14. And then dividing both sides by 2, we get y is equal to +7. So if x is equal to -1, then the value of y is +7. So this means that the point -1, 7 lies on the straight line. Now if x is equal to 2, we substitute 2 to x, so we get 7 times 2 plus 2 times y equals 7. 7 times 2 is 14. And then transposing 14 to the right side, we get 2 times y is equal to -7. Dividing both sides by 2, this will give us y is equal to -7 over 2. Therefore, the point 2, -7 over 2 lies on the straight line. So plotting this point, we have plotting these points, -1, 7 is located here. And the point 2, -7 over 2 is located somewhere here. X equals 2 and y is equal to -7 over 2. So connecting these 2 points with the straight line, then that's the graph of 7x plus 2y equals 7. So now for our third option, we can actually make use of the slope-intercept form. So since the equation of the line here is in the general format, then we can write this first in the slope-intercept form. So to write this in the slope-intercept form, we will transpose 7x to the right side. So we get 2y is equal to -7x plus 7. And then we divide both sides by 2 to solve for y. So we get y is equal to -7 over 2 times x plus 7 over 2. So in the slope-intercept form, we have n, or the slope, which is -7 over 2. And then the y-intercept is +7 over 2. So this means that the y-intercept 0, 7 over 2 lies on the straight line. So in order to graph the line, we shall plot 0, 7 over 2, which is located somewhere here. And then using this point and the slope, we shall get a second point of the line. Now, since the slope is -7 over 2, we can treat this as -7 divided by +2 or +7 divided by -2. So if we are going to use -7 divided by +2, that means from the y-intercept, we are going to move 2 units to the right side. So if we move 2 units to the right side, we're going to move here. And then at this point, we have to move 7 units downward. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we get the following point. And this is our second point, so we can just connect these 2 points by a straight line. Now, if we're going to use 7 over -2, then from the y-intercept, we are going to move 2 units to the left, and then we move 7 units upward. So in this case, we move up to this position. So actually, all these 3 points lie on the straight line, so we can connect them by a straight line, and that's the graph of 7x plus 2y equals 7. Now, there are other forms of the equation of a line, and let us discuss them one by one. So the first one will be the point slope form. So if a line has a slope m and passes through the point P with coordinates x1 and y1, then its equation in point slope form is given by y minus the value of y1 equals the value of the slope m times the quantity of x minus the value of x sub 1. Now, if 2 points of a line are given, then we shall use the 2-point form. So a line passing through the points P with coordinates x sub 1 and y sub 1 and point Q with coordinates x sub 2, y sub 2 has equation of the following form. So it can be written as y minus the value of y sub 1 equals the computation of the slope of the line passing through the points P and Q, which is given by y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1 times the quantity of x minus the value of x sub 1. And then lastly, we have the intercepts form. So if we're given with the x-intercept A of the line and the y-intercept B of the line, then the line has equation of the form x divided by the value of A plus y divided by the value of B, and it is equal to 1. So let us have some examples. Let us find the equation of the line having the given properties. So first, a line passing through the point -3, 4 and has slope 5 over 3. So in this case, we're given with the slope, which is m, and we're given with a point with coordinates x sub 1 and y sub 1. So since we're given with a point and a slope, then we can use the point slope form, which is y minus y sub 1 equals m times the quantity of x minus x sub 1. So substituting the appropriate values, we get y minus y sub 1, which is 4, equals the slope, which is 5 over 3, and then we multiply it by x minus the value of x sub 1. Now, since x sub 1 is negative, then x minus a negative number will give us x plus positive 3. Now, if the instruction says write the equation in the general form, then we can multiply both sides of this equation by 3. And then the left-hand side will become 3y minus 12, since we distributed 3 to both y and -4. And then in the right side, the denominator 3 and the multiplier 3 will cancel out, while the 5 must be distributed to both x plus 3. So the right-hand side will become 5x plus 15. And then we can transpose everything from the right side to the left side, and this gives us -5 times x plus 3 times y. And then the constant will be -12 minus 15, which is -27, equals 0. Now we can also write this equation as 5 times x minus 3 times y plus 27 equals 0 by multiplying both sides of this equation by -1. So both of these are the equations of the line described here in the first item. Now for our second item, let us determine the equation of the line passing through the points 3, 6 and 1, 9. Now first, we need to solve for the slope of the line, which is given by the formula y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So plugging in the values, we have 9 minus 6 over 1 minus 3. So 9 minus 6 is positive 3, and then 1 minus 3 is -2. So the slope is 3 over -2. And then since we already have this slope and we have 2 points, so we can use one of these 2 points and the slope, and we use the point slope form. So we can use y minus y sub 1 equals the slope m times x minus x sub 1. So we get y minus 6, if this is our y sub 1, and if this is our x sub 1, we have -3 over 2 times x minus 3. Now, if the equation is written in the standard form or in the slope-intercept form, then we can distribute -3 over 2 to both x and -3. So we get y minus 6 is equal to -3 over 2 times x plus 9 over 2. And then transposing -6 to the right side, we get y is equal to -3 over 2x plus 9 over 2 plus 6, which will be 21 over 2. So this equation is in the slope-intercept form, where the slope is -3 over 2 and the y-intercept is 21/2. Now for the third example, let us find the equation of the line having the x-intercept -5 and the y-intercept 2/3. Now since both the intercepts are given, we can use the equation x/a plus y/b is equal to 1. So plugging in the values for a, which is -5, and for b, which is 2/3, we get the following. x/-5 plus y/2/3 equals 1. So rewriting this equation in simpler format, we have -x/5 plus 3/2 times y equals 1. So we get the reciprocal of 2/3 and multiply it by y, and we get 3/2 times y. Now to write this in the general format, we can multiply both sides by the LCD 5 and 2, which is 10. So 10 times -x/5 will be -2x. 10 times +3/2y will be 15y. And 10 times 1 is 10. So transposing 10 to the other side, we get -2x plus 15y minus 10 equals 0, which is the general form of the equation of a line. Or if we multiply both sides of this equation by -1, then we can also get 2 times x minus 15 times y plus 10 equals 0. Okay, next, let's move to parallel and perpendicular lines. Now, if we have two lines, L1 and L2, having the slopes M1 and M2 respectively, then we say that the two lines are parallel if they don't meet or they don't have any points of intersection, or when the slope or when their slopes are equal. So illustrated here are two lines that are parallel. So these two lines do not meet and their slopes are equal since they are parallel. Now, for the second one, if L1 and L2, or if the two lines are perpendicular, if they form a 90-degree angle, or if the product of their slopes is equal to -1. Now, the product of the slopes being equal to -1 is also equivalent to saying that their slopes are negative reciprocals of each other. Now, let us determine if the following pairs of lines is parallel or perpendicular or neither. So for the first one, we have 3x plus 2y equals 6. And for the second one, we have 6x plus 4y equals 10. So in order to determine if they are parallel or perpendicular, we shall get their slopes. So for the first one, we write this in the slope-intercept form. And the slope-intercept form of the following would be y is equal to -3/2 times x plus 6/2. So this is equal to -3/2 times x plus 3. So which means that the slope of the first line is -3/2. And then for the second line, the slope-intercept form is -6/4 times x plus 10/4. Or we can write this as -3/2x plus 5/2. And then as we can see here that the slope of the second line is also -3/2. So since the slopes of the two lines are the same, then we say that the two lines are parallel. Now for the second one, since both of the equations are already in the slope-intercept format, then we just compare the slopes. So the slope of the first one is -5 and the slope of the second one is +1/5. If we get the product of -5 and 1/5, then we're getting the product of -1. So this indicates that these two lines are perpendicular. Now for the third one, again, the forms of the equations of the line are in the slope-intercept format. So the slope of the first line is 4 and the slope of the second line is -3, and they are not equal, so which means that the lines are not parallel. Now, if we multiply the slope 4 and the slope -3, the product is -12, which is not equal to -1. So which means that these pairs of lines are not perpendicular. So that means these pairs of lines are neither parallel nor perpendicular. And then finally, let us find the equation of the line passing through the point -8, 1, and is parallel with the line 3x minus 5y equals 9. So from this problem, we're given with a point, but we do not have any slope. So the information about the slope of the line that we're getting must come from 3x minus 5y equals 9, because we know here that this line is parallel with the line that we are looking for. So which means that we need to get the slope of this line. So get the slope here by writing this equation in the slope-intercept form. So we get -5y is equal to -3x plus 9. And then we divide both sides by -5. So in here, we get y is equal to +3/5 times x minus 9/5. So the slope is +3/5. And since this line is parallel with the line that we're looking for, then the slope of that line must be 3/5. So using the point slope form, y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1, and plugging the appropriate values, we have y minus 1, which is our y sub 1, and the slope is +3/5 times x minus -8, and that will become x plus 8. So if we are going to write this in the general form, then we multiply both sides by 5. So we get 5y minus 5 equals 3 times x plus 24. So transposing everything in the left side, or everything from the right side to the left side, we get -3x plus 5y minus 29 equals 0. Or we can write this as 3 times x minus 5 times y plus 29 equals 0. And this is the equation of the line that we're looking for. Now, if the parallel condition is changed to perpendicular, then that means we just need to get the negative reciprocal of 3/5, which is -5/3, and that will be the slope that we will use in the following formula. And the process is similar. So this is our video about lines. Thank you for listening, and do not forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you.